Good afternoon to each of you, our virtual viewers. This is Encouragement Tipple coming to you all for our last and final installment of Cured of COVID-19. As you know, I'm Pastor Chris. This is Pastor Reed, and we have been coming to you all each and every week, every Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m., providing you with the resources, the wherewithal to help you manage COVID-19 by way of hearing from the testimonials of those who actually have endured and encountered COVID-19. So, per usual, as we go through this live broadcast, we just ask that each of you that you like, share, repost. If you're viewing us on YouTube, that you just continue to tune in and also subscribe down below. Whatever your virtual platform that you're utilizing at this point, we just want you to know that we welcome you even virtually, and we want you to just be family with us as we continue to move forward to inform you all about what's happening with COVID-19 and the reality of it being alive and prevalent and even increasing today. And so today we have two special persons who I've come to know by way of Wheeler Avenue, even if it's a long ways away, a long time ago, but I've had the opportunity to share with my sister Vascola Stoney and sister Jaquina. Jaquina, give me your last name. Is it Sowell?
Sowell.
Sowell. I'm so sorry. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get it all right together.
You,
But we thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you that, again, are joining in with us virtually on our other platforms, we will have opportunities for you to ask questions. And I will relay those questions to our guests today so that they can answer them for you. But without further delay, we want for each of you, and I'm going to start with Sister Jaquina first, to just tell us a little bit about yourself.
okay, well, my name is Tina Sowell. As she shared, I am a member of the Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. And I'm just honored to have this opportunity to speak with you guys and also to just share my testimony about my COVID-19 journey. It was an extended journey for me. So just being able to be transparent and having the opportunity to possibly, being able to connect with others who maybe have been on the same journey or know someone who was on the journey. Because COVID-19 has definitely flipped all of our lives around in one way or another. So I'm definitely here to be able to answer any questions and just to share my story and also how being sick during that time, during that extended time, how it grew me closer to God than I've ever been in the 35 years of my life. So I am honored to be a part tonight.
Well, thank you so much. We're gonna give Sister Vascola an opportunity. You did touch base on a lot of the questions in just kind of in your intro that we were going to target. So we're gonna let Vascola just go ahead and give us a little bit about herself, even though I know a lot. But
Hello, everybody, virtual family and friends. I am Bascola Stoney. A little bit about myself: preacher, spoken word artist. Just struggling, uh, faithful, blessed child of God. Um, from Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. I've been in Houston for years and years and years, and discovered this morning, having been asked to be a guest on the show, discovered this morning, just kind of paid attention to cured from COVID and realized that I did not have COVID, but I did think about it later on. I've had two COVID scares, if you will. And I'm using scares with air quotes because I wasn't quite scared. I was a little on the nervous side. But I had to trust God that it was going to come through the way it's come through. And while I haven't experienced the depth of COVID from a medical standpoint, like many others, and certainly not like Jaquina, just emotionally, just watching the whole thing and watching how it's affected everybody, people you know, people you don't know, and the 225 plus Americans. There is no way that you cannot be affected. You don't have to be infected to have been affected. I've learned that. So that's pretty much who I am.
Okay. All right. Great introductions. You know, we don't want to keep you all too long, but we definitely want to dig in and get
Says the
the
preacher.
insights. Look, last time we closed about 3 times and still didn't come to a wrap. So, but we will try not to keep you long. We try to make these segments very timely, but we're gonna go ahead and start with our first question, and we'll try to scroll them up at the top as they come. So again, we're gonna just alternate between the two of you, focusing right now on Sister Jaquina just for the time being. So how was your life before COVID? So, and with this question, I want to know just basically what were you doing? Just act like COVID-19 never happened. What were you doing? What was your life like before everybody went and had a scare about COVID-19? Like what was your what was your life like?
So before COVID-19, I was just finishing up my undergraduate degree, planning on, moving forward with my graduate degree, um, still working, still being with family, still just trying to move forward and actually accomplish the goals that I had set for myself in 2019 and moving all the way into 2020. So before COVID hit, that's where I was. Everyone was still on their New Year's resolution, trying to, check off things, trying to, right, trying to get fit, trying to make sure your mind is right, telling yourself and you telling yourself that you're going to get fit and fine, for 2020, and and just your relationship is going to grow with God. You're going to spend more time with Him. So pretty much, that's where I was before COVID-19 hit. But like a lot of us, trying to find time to incorporate all of that was definitely a challenge for me.
So you had
So
focus
yeah,
going 2020. You was gonna bring it in with new vision, a new outlook, new body, just new
yeah.
everything.
Yep, 2020 new vision. That yes, that's where I was before COVID hit. It just rearranged everything.
Yeah, if they don't see me now, they will see me later. A lot
Yeah.
of that going on. Vascola, how about you with this new 2020? How was life with you prior to?
Go.
Before, if I'm answering the same question, before COVID, I was preparing for school, for graduate school, for seminary. I getting all the paperwork done, just getting excited because I'm thinking this time it's finally gonna happen, and just anticipating what was going to be next. Okay, what is going to be next, and what is my role? How am I going to get this done? Just thinking about all of my goals, all the things I wanted to do. Some I knew God wanted me to do, had told me to do, and some I had slipped there anyway because that's just what we do. We put our own stuff into the
Yeah,
plan because God knows the plans He has for us. We don't really know, so we just come up with our own until till He
Got
shuts
it.
it down.
look,
Until He shuts it down.
he knows the plans, but we know what we want, right?
But we absolutely, yeah.
And she
Yes,
said
sir.
that. Well, I caught the seminary part.
Yeah, so
Where you were going? Where were you going to go for seminary? What's your plan?
And I am still. And that's gonna be a part of the conversation because I am in seminary. Just finished the first. So they split the semester into 2 sessions, and so I just finished my first session at the amazing historically Black Virginia Union University, Samuel DeWitt
Boo.
Proctor School of
Yeah,
Theology.
because we biased the Houston Graduate School of Theology.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
where it's from.
That's
Oh, did somebody just blow a horn?
No, no. Let me tell you what happened, and I might jump out of your mom because I need to put my phone on do not disturb.
Oh, you fine.
Well, because every time something happens, then y'all gonna hear it, and it ain't horns blowing. It's just people trying to get in.
That's fine. That's fine. So
Okay.
basically, we living our best life. We socializing. We hanging out with family. We going to shoot pool or do what we do. hanging out. I know what y'all streams, y'all do y'all thing. I'm not so in tune with what you
You
guys
be
do.
trying to look at my group chat.
I do. I know a lot to you. I see y'all group chat. I'm a little jealous because I have just 1 or 2 friends, but it's a good thing that you guys
Not one, two.
consistently
Yeah, yeah.
bonded. I think that's cool, though. I mean, realistically, that's cool because you guys can encourage each other. So I think that's good. But you can also say y'all was living y'all best life, to put it in terms, prior to COVID-19, prior to the country shutting down.
And I think at least even with just, living our best life, I think even beyond that, we just kind of had an itemization of, even with Vascola and Jacola was saying, that we had an itemization of what we kind of had some control over what we thought was going to happen next. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to be, and even though Vascola has indicated that yes, she's still going to seminary and still actively involved in that, we still in some cases thought before COVID, I already have my list of things to do. I already knew that I was going to do this, that, and the other, and COVID, which is going to probably lead us into our next question, just kind of threw a wrench in all of that. It caught us all off guard, and it extended many of whoever has kids, their spring break. So I know about that.
Yeah, they went on a spring break
and just never came
never
back.
off,
I was like, Lord, this can't be your will for my life. So, but okay, so our next question, when did you perceive that you, because we're focusing on you right now, may have contracted COVID-19? Like, where were you? What were you doing at that time?
So at that time, I was actually at home. So it happened while I was caring for someone else that did not know that at that time they had contracted COVID.
Wow.
So I think the night after I was leaving from taking food and medicine and doing different things, I myself started to feel sick. I had the fever, the chills, the body aches, and I'm just like, okay, something is not right. So, that night I was, trying to nurse myself back to health. And I ended up contacting my doctor to just let them know. And then I was reading the different symptoms of COVID-19. And I was just checking it off the list. And I was just like, Lord, I hope this is not this is not what's going on. But I definitely just want to contact, my doctor, let them know. So it happened like in a matter of days. I know they were saying it took 2 weeks or so. No, for me, my symptoms and it all happened in a matter of hours and of days. So it was back in June. It was around the 16th. The 17th, I called my doctor. The 18th, I was tested. The 19th, I found out that I tested positive. So that's what I was saying. It was just a matter of days when it all happened. So, yeah, it was. So no.
Yeah. So wait a minute, because you said you caught it from someone else who may have had it. Where were you? You said where were you guys located? Like you said, you was at home when you felt the symptoms, but where were you with this individual that may have had it?
So I was at their house. So I was taking care of them. I was getting off work. So I was still working. So I work for the city of Houston, and I was, my job is still considered to be essential. So I was still going into work every day. So just after I got off work that evening, I was taking food to my friend who was sick at the time, trying to make sure they were okay because they were down not feeling well. So I'm like, okay, well, let me stop by and do this. So I stopped by their house. And then after I left from their house and I came home, I stopped and got me something to eat. That's where I was like, okay, well, I'm not feeling my best. So let me see what's going on. And even just with that, I was with this same friend the weekend before. So not knowing when my friend had contracted it. But I was definitely with them for at least 2 or 3 days before I myself started experiencing symptoms of COVID-19.
Wow. So basically, what you were telling me, come on, sit down. Yeah. So this person who you went, because I'm taking notes. You see me look down, I'm writing some things down. So you taking care of somebody that was sick, and but they didn't know they had COVID-19. You just knew they were sick. So what was the sickness that person, I'm not gonna say it's a he or she, but that friend perceived that they had?
They were thinking that it was like a sinus infection. So they had, they were sneezing, the runny nose, the different things like that. They did have a headache. But again, if you have sinus issues, headaches and drainage, that's something that just comes along with it. So, some of the symptoms can definitely seem like other things, especially if you're used to experiencing sinuses and stuff like that. So it definitely mimics and mirrors the same thing as a sinus infection. So I just thought my friend at the time, and also my friend thought, it was just a sinus infection. However, it had gotten to the point where they were unable to move. Getting out the bed or just having the energy, it was becoming difficult for them. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I'll bring you, you need to eat. So let me at least bring you a smoothie or some crackers or some type of soup, so you can have something in your body and not eat anything. So that's how it happened.
Okay, a couple of follow-ups. So the week before, they wasn't sick at all.
No. So the week before, no.
So you guys have a question. Were you wearing masks? Be real honest with us.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask.
No. See, they're gonna smile. I want to see this. I want to hear this.
Look, he try to, y'all.
I do this to everybody.
You just gotta watch.
No, he's fine.
No, I'm not gonna rob. I'm gonna be a little patient today. I'm gonna rob, but it's gonna be like a slow rob. But were you wearing masks? I know in March, this is when everything hit. You said it was June 16th. So prior to all of this, were you doing all the safety precautions in regards to wearing masks, sanitizer? If you were you doing it all the time, or was you just?
So I was doing it all the time, but at that time when I was at their home, I didn't have on my mask, put it that way. But going to work, I had to wear a mask. In the store, I had my mask. I was, sanitizing my hand. And the crazy thing is, even while I was taking care of the person, I was washing my hands, but I didn't have on the mask. So I was washing my hands, cleaning up after them, doing different things, but it probably caught a hold on to my nasal passage while I was still exposed, not having the mask on. So it was like I was being cautious in one area, and it just, with wearing the mask, once I got into their house, it just didn't click to me. I ended up taking it off so I can have, I guess, better communication, being able to assist them better. So at that time, I was exposed.
So you would say that you were comfortable enough,
yes,
to not wear a mask. And I just want to stop there, because you're not by yourself. It's so many people, that are viewing us, and so many people that just across this globe, where they're comfortable around people that they know. Like,
right.
I'm going to my mom's house. I don't have to wear no mask. I believe that she clean.
This one is different.
She keeps her house clean. She keeps her house clean or whatever. But the fact is, yes, your parents might keep their house clean, or your sibling may keep their house clean, but you don't know who else has been in your sibling's house, or who has been, who else they've been in contact with, and they may be asymptomatic, and then you come in contact, and then you become symptomatic.
But this is different. Because she has somebody's house that's already sick.
Well, I think what I'm trying to say is that there are times, even when a person is sick and they say, hey, it's just a cold, they believe it's a cold or whatever, you take it for face value. Okay, it may be the cold. You can't just automatically think, somebody sneezes, you got COVID. Somebody you got COVID. There's symptoms, as she indicated, that are similar to COVID, and we all know the flu and all other types of viruses that may spread. So
in June, I get March. I get February, March, maybe early April. In June, I'm dropping your lunch at your door. I'm knocking on the door. Your food is here. I'm just being honest, because baby Jesus, call on him. Try Jesus.
No, you gonna say something?
No, I did. That was it.
No.
Y'all pray for me. So my question is, where does Vass go?
Well, see, that's what I was gonna ask Vass. Y'all, I call her Vass, but I just
call her Vass. All
right. Okay.
It's all right.
Okay. So, how are you? We're talking about other people. did you practice that same thing? Like, did you always wear masks?
No, I pretty much always wear a mask. In
No,
fact, I
wait.
have listen, pretty much no matter where I am. But let me just tell you, it this whole business about being comfortable or not being comfortable, we're still learning, and it also is a matter of relationships. And so, I hear you, Pastor, but I'm just saying that it's about relationships, and it's also about where we think a person is, and what we think we know. So yes, some of us slip because it's like, okay, we're here, and I've been in situations where people come in with masks, but then you're comfortable enough 5 minutes, because I got family members who would come over, and they know they're not getting in my house without a mask. So you get in, and then you get in, and then 10 minutes later
The
you
mask off. No.
you're slipping your mask off, and it's like, hey. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I've only let only a few people in. Not let a few people in, because it's not like a whole bunch of people trying to crowd the door. But if I got a couple of people coming over at this time, then I'm not going to let 6 more people come over. My space is large enough where we can social distance even inside the house. So somebody might come in and sit on that couch, and I'm way on the other side of the room sitting on that couch. And though this thing went crazy in March, around May, and even we're still learning and still getting more and more information about how it spreads, and what it does and all that. But for the most part, even right now, I will wear my mask. One of my best friends sometimes, but actually my son came over because he doesn't stay with me 24/7. He came over to the house, and once he walked in the door, I grabbed my mask, and he was on his way upstairs. He said, "Wait, Ma, you put your mask on?" Because I came in. I said, "Yes, sir, I most certainly did."
You know what? I do that with my son when he
Because
comes
you
to the
don't,
door.
because you don't live here. I said, "You don't live here."
That
I know what you mean.
Look, when my son knocks on the door, he be like, "Dad, I have my mask on."
Now you wrong. Now, you wrong for that.
Oh, look, no, wear your mask. You cannot come in without a mask. Now I'm with you though. In March, April, she'll tell you, I was like, I'm not feeling this mask like this.
Right.
But now, since May, about May, I'm like, look, mask going everywhere. You see her face, right? She don't believe it, but that's honest.
Well, and I think we all have, like she said, we're all trying to learn. But I think for me, I don't want to. I feel like I can't afford to not wear one, because for me, I have an underlying condition that will make things a little challenging. And I know that that's not everybody's reality, but I know for me, I try to, make sure that I'm around people that have masks on. And I've had people to feel offended, when we ask, if they come by, oh, can I come in? Oh, do you have a mask? No, I'm sorry. I stay outside.
Yeah, and we do that. I've even done let my guard down a couple of times to not offend. You know what I mean? But listen, I'm telling you, it's a learning process for us all. And the more we go, the more we see, the higher the number climbs of death, the more people we know that get sick. We just know you should not be offended about me trying to protect you, even from me. You know
Right,
what I mean? I'm not saying you're sick. I'm saying I don't know if I'm sick.
right.
You know what I mean? So let me help both of you. But like I said, and some of us have contracted this thing by no fault of our own, even as careful as we have been, because we don't know when it actually started, when it got out there, when it got bad, and all of that. So we do the best we can, but I believe when we know better, we do better.
Yeah, and you know what, Vash? I gotta say we haven't slipped like that yet, that I can recall. Because again, not intentionally. Because like I said, she has asthma, and then the 2 little ones, so it's more okay. And everybody deal with it differently according to their living situation. You know, if you don't have a lot of people, they don't have no other children, it's just them. They're a little bit. I tend to see they're a little bit more relaxed. But for us, for like Josh would say, for me in my house, we have to do things differently. We haven't even been to a restaurant since March. You know, we're not doing no sit-ins, none of that because
I got you. I got you.
Family. And
Yeah, I got you.
Them.
And listen, just in case you didn't get it, what I was trying to do was trying to get you for. I felt like you was beating up on my sister a little bit, and I wanted you off of her. I wanted you off of her. That's all. That's all that was. I'm just saying.
Look, I'm the rod and she's the calm. I'm the rod.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Look.
I'm just saying she ain't here by herself. That's all. That's all.
We gotta talk together. Okay, but back to this conversation. But go ahead, babe.
Look, y'all, he trying to throw.
I'm just being honest. So basically, Jay, you with your friend. You're taking care of your friend. I mean, I do have a question because she know he's sick, right? This is June.
You don't know if it's a he though.
He, she, somebody.
The friend.
We're gonna say it like that. The friend. You know, and I guess my question.
We're not trying to be in your business.
You're fine.
I don't want to know your business first.
You're fine.
I'm on the point that I believe this person is hawking and coughing and everything else. I mean, I'm just saying they coughing, and you know she has to wear a mask. She's wearing a mask all day. I guess in my mind, I feel like, you know what? If I have to be in this house,
but I'm sure you may have asked, you know, hey, are you okay? And they might say, "Oh yeah,
I'm good. It's just a flu."
So you were asking in regards to wearing the mask while I was in the house.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I had my mask on the entire time. I guess like what Vascola was saying, just with me and the relationship that I had with that person. Yes, I knew that person was sick. Yes, now looking back, I should have continued to keep my mask on, but just feeling that I was comfortable with this person and I was actually going in there to still trying to assist them, just having the mask on, I just didn't have it on. I should have had it on. And now that I look back, yes, I should have. And that probably definitely would have saved me from experiencing or contracting COVID. But at the end of the day, it was just, COVID was still around. It was still something new. I didn't think, you know, that would have been my reality. I did let my guard down. And at the same time, you know, hey, I should have had my mask on.
So let me ask you this: what were your symptoms? I think you may have mentioned it when I stepped away, but what were your symptoms?
So when I first started having symptoms, it was fever, body aches, and chills. Was my first symptoms that led me to call my doctor to actually get tested for COVID-19. Those were my first symptoms. However, my journey with COVID lasted 3 months. So I was out for 3 months. You know, after the first 2 weeks of isolation, I actually had a total of 7 weeks of isolation because of the side effects COVID had on me. So getting COVID and the side effects are two totally different things, because once you get the virus, how it reacts to your body is something totally different, and it reacts differently for each person. So that's why I was considered a long hauler, because of the side effects after contracting it, what it was doing to the functionality of my body, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. It was like a whole thing for me.
Hold on. So, and all of this is going to lead to our next question, because you said June 16th is when you start feeling a little sick. Mm-hmm. The 17th, you decided, you know what, this is not really where I want to be. The 18th, you got tested. On the 19th, you received your results. So did you pay for it? Was it something you paid for? Where did you go to get tested?
So I actually got tested through Kelsey Thibault. So I have insurance with Kelsey. So I have my insurances with Kelsey. So when I called Kelsey and I let them know that I was having symptoms, I talked to my doctor and she actually scheduled me to go to one of the Kelsey Sibo locations where they were doing drive-through testing. So I have my testing done through Kelsey Sibo at a drive-through testing, and then the next day is when my doctor called me. It was actually about in the evening time, around 6 o'clock. She called me, and that's when she told me that my test results came back positive.
You know, but that's good because most people, when they got tested, it took them at least 3 days. So we had some stories that they didn't get their results back to 20, 21 days. Mm-hmm. And so, what were your thoughts once your doctor said, once your doctor said you're positive? What was going on through your mind at this moment?
It was a series of different emotions. So I was scared because I knew what the virus was doing and how it consumed the life of so many. I didn't know where I fell on that in that aspect, on that timeline of how it was going to react to me. I was nervous because I didn't know how long I might have had it, and if I exposed anyone else to it by me not knowing that I had it. I was nervous. I was afraid because I didn't know how people were going to react to me having it, thinking, wanting to distance themselves or thinking, I must have been out and about doing different things, not being safe, not taking it serious, and just worried about others' thoughts of me now that I did have it, and having to call people. Like I said, I was going to work every day. The night that I got sick, I was just at work earlier that day. So, I didn't know based on the timeline when they said you contracted it, I didn't know if I was exposed to it 2 weeks before or a week before or whatever. Because I found out I had it before my friend who I was taking care of found out that they had it. So,
that was our next question.
Yeah.
Your friend to get tested.
So once I found out, because once I started getting sick, I'm like, okay, if I have these symptoms, I'm reading the symptoms. And then once my symptoms started, my friend's symptoms got worse. So they went from just having headaches to sneezing and coughing. So they had literally had all the symptoms of COVID-19. They lost their taste, their sense of smell. They were vomiting, they had diarrhea. So all the symptoms, once I got sick, my friend was experiencing all of them. And then my friend was also in a bad place because they were a transplant patient. So they were one of the high risk, considered to be a part of the high risk population because of their preconditions. So, and then, so it was really, it was really a scary time because even my friend, once they got tested, they were in the hospital for like 2 weeks because they end up getting pneumonia in both of their lungs. Their kidney vitals end up dropping. They had fever and, the constant, they were very dehydrated because they had diarrhea. So it was just a rough time, so being afraid of them, thinking that they were going to pass away because they were sick. I was sick, still trying to get well, but worried about them, worried about my family, having to communicate with my job, letting them know that I have it, them sending me emails, me having to stay in contact, with the health department and, different things like that. So it was a lot of stress during that time. And again, even after my friend got well, I was still dealing with certain things. Then my symptoms started worsening, after that. So it was an experience.
So,
wow.
So I just want to ask. He said I got a lot of questions. We got a lot of questions. So y'all see us keep moving over because we're actually like looking at what's So Vascola, this question is for you. I guess just hearing this, how did that make you feel? I guess at whatever point you may have found out that she had COVID-19, how did that make you feel?
Well, I hadn't spoken to her in quite some time, and I remembered the day I found out I was walking like exercise and walking, and I'm walking through the neighborhood, and I had said to myself, no, I hadn't talked to this girl, and it's been too, I done tried to call her, and so I just said, okay, well, just out of blue, let me call her again. And then because I'm listening to some music, and a lot of times I'll hear some music, I'll hear a song or something, and I'll hear her voice singing a song, because if you know anything about it, you already know what that is, right? So I'm thinking of this song. I said, okay, let me call her, and I call her, and she finally answered the phone this time. And then she told me, kind of reluctantly, but, and I don't know what the reluctance was, if it was what she was feeling or if not to worry me. She did tell me that she had been sick. I remember her saying, I've been sick with COVID. I'm sorry I hadn't called you back. I know I hadn't called you back or whatever. And so when she started to tell me what she was experiencing, I just felt, just was glad that it felt like she was going to be okay, but just knowing that she had been going through that she had already gone through what she went through, plus was still right in the thick of it, just felt compassion for her and knew that I was going to be praying for her. And I believe, knowing me, I believe I prayed even while we were walking, and then just tried to encourage her, but felt encouraged by her. Just telling me all that she had gone through and how she was dealing with it, but just kind of just frustrated with the situation itself, but just certainly feeling sympathizing with her and what she had been going through.
Okay. Okay, so let me ask you this then. At some point, did you think, or did thoughts come to you like, Lord, why her? She's been singing for you. She's been doing, did you ever have those type of thoughts?
You know what? I didn't really have those thoughts of why her. It was more of a wow, somebody I know this well.
Right. And it's like close to home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was not, and I had another friend who had gotten so sick, and it was just such a rapid, he had gotten so sick that he was afraid. He went in there one night, and the next thing you know, they were about to put him on a ventilator. He actually called to say, he said, look, I don't know when I'm ever going to talk to you again. I just wanted you to know that I love you, and got off and hung up the phone in my face.
So you said on a ventilator? And I don't want to get too much.
He ended up he ended up on oxygen.
Okay.
He ended up on oxygen, but he was so out of breath at the moment. It's like he used the last, before he got on there, he was so out of breath. And later on I found out, he said, I called a couple of other people. I just wanted you to know, because he felt like, he told him, he said, mister, if this oxygen doesn't work, we're going to lose you. That they flat out told him that. So just that was another person who I knew well, but it was just another, wow. You know what I mean? Somebody I know, because before that, with the numbers climbing, it was just faces that they were showing on TV. And I don't even know if they were showing many faces, just numbers. They were just numbers, just climbing, and numbers just growing, and red and yellow, and just red, just all of that. Right. But I remember getting, or even after I got off the phone with her, thinking, wow, because this is somebody I know. And then praying even more. And then praying continuously, just like I was praying for everybody else. So, but there was never a, God, why her? She serves you so well. You gave her this gift and all. It was never any of that.
Okay. But Jay, did you feel like, God, why me?
It did cross my mind, but then at the same time, I was like, why not me? What makes me different? What separates me from everybody else? Just because I am a Christian, or just because I have a relationship with him? So as soon as I thought it, I'm just like, well, why not? So yeah. So no, I never wallowed on that why me, or anything like that. So no, that wasn't something that I stayed on.
And Vascola, you said something, we really don't pay attention until somebody we know or someone that's close to us gets it. And then it's an eye opener. With Lee, you remember my aunt, when she caught it, it opened my eyes. So, you know what? Because I was under the notion, and I'm going to be honest with you, that we wasn't catching it in the beginning. African Americans, when this thing first came out in March and April. Many of us weren't catching it. So I was one of those ones telling her, black folks, we ain't catching it. We immune to this thing, you know. But then, this was in March. Vascola, listen to me now. Let me finish the story. But then when April came around, and then it was more of us not only getting hit by it, but we were dying from it. It took a whole different meaning. And so that's, I think, when I started to really take it seriously with this mask. And look, this is quarantine hair. I'm used to getting a haircut, but I haven't even been to a barbershop. Like, my hair is long because my perspective has changed.
Because your barber
and my hairstylist on my left is doing a great job.
So, well, I just want to interject real quick because we still have people that are coming in. We just want to say thank you to all of our viewers. Continue to share, continue to drop your questions. We will be asking, as we've been doing, asking the questions as they come in. So leave your questions in the comments so we can get them to both Shaquana and to Vascola, whatever questions you may have. But continue to tune in. I have a question while y'all are dropping y'all's questions. I have my own question. So, we talked about why not me and all of that. At what point, like, did you ever, I know, not necessarily think why me, but kind of like how long is this going to be? Because I can imagine that once you got the diagnosis, you already said that you didn't know when you actually got it. You could have been a whole week in and not even have known it. But then as the symptoms, I'm presuming, started to maybe get worse or what have you. Like, okay, how long is this going to happen?
So yes, like I shared, I was in quarantine for a total of 7 weeks.
7 weeks?
7 weeks. 7 weeks in quarantine for 7 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So I did ask, I'm like, okay, Lord, okay, I have it, I'm dealing with it, but why so long? Why the prolonged time? Why I feel like I'm getting better, then something to happen, and then everything will change.
So relapse.
So that's why I was saying, like, the side effects of the virus, it can be a prolonged thing. Like I was, for a while I was unable to eat. I was throwing up everything that I was eating. So for like about 3 weeks, I was unable to eat. And then I was experiencing extreme fatigue, not having energy to do anything, to talk, to even go get up and use the restroom, or to make me any, get any water. Like, the fatigue was so horrible. And then my muscles, the strength that I once had, I no longer had it, and it was just the different things the virus does to your body, how it affects you, and being the shortness of breath, being unable to breathe or talk for more than 3 or 4 minutes, that took time, the coughing, the irritability, the depression that I was in because of the prolonged period of isolation and because of the prolonged period of the disconnect from any human contact. The only contact I had was my parents dropping off food at my door, knocking, and having to walk away. So having that for so long, it all took a toll on me, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. It was all taking a toll on me too. I was like, okay, I'm reading. I'm trying to get closer to God. I feel like God has put me here to isolate me so I can build my relationship with him. But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, God, you have me here for a reason. But how long do I have to be in this wilderness experience?
It's amazing you say that, because I actually put on this paper depression, because I wanted to ask you, was there a season where depression set in? Because we have this myth in the church that if you're godly or you have a relationship with Christ, that depression should not be a thing, or you're immune to it, or you shouldn't even be associated.
Why are you depressed? You're a child of God. Why are you sad? And it's, we have to be careful with not with putting that type of ideals and pressures on people, because yes, while you are a Christian, you are also human.
Yeah.
We know that depression, that we is real, and sometimes, like, even within the church, I mean to cut you off, but even within the church, we don't want to acknowledge mental health issues. We think, oh girl, just throw some oil on it, you be all right, go ahead and do this and that and you'll be fine. But the reality is that this stuff is real, and our emotions are real. Now I will say that of course we have to just be mindful how long we stay there, but it's still real. And COVID-19, like you said, when you are having to realize that your parents are just dropping things off the door, and the closest contact you will have is maybe doing FaceTime or Duo if you have an Android, y'all.
Yeah. And then the reality is you already away from your church. She called it in June, so church is already closed. So now that connectivity already is at a loss, and so I can only imagine her. Well, she could tell us. She already told her. I can only imagine your state that you were in, where your faith could have struggled. And I just want to believe, during the time frame, you said 7 weeks. How did your faith shift? That's basically 2 months. Yeah. Were you still stable in your faith? And this just be transparent, or did you kind of waver in your faith?
Come on, man.
It was definitely a battle. It was a battle. I shared with Reverend Mascola. I was in communication with Pastor Cosby. He would definitely check on me as well. And I would just share that I wasn't okay. Like when I got to a point, I'm like, I'm trying to process this. And I even told Vasco, I'm like, I want us to talk so I can process what I'm dealing with in a healthy way, because right now I'm not okay. So it was definitely a battle of knowing who God is, knowing what he's brought me through, and then actually being in it right then. So it was a constant, I'm like, Lord, I know you're here with me. I know you're not, you know the plans. I know you're a healer. You're a provider. Because even during that time, I wasn't working. So I had exhausted all of my sick time. I exhausted all of my vacation time. So my job still allowed me to be an employee, but I was not getting paid for like 3 months. I wasn't getting paid. So it was like the stressors of all that was on me, and I was depressed, and even with what you're saying, when people think, okay, you're a Christian, you're not supposed to be depressed, or when you're dealing with things, just pray about it and give it to God and he's going to work it out. Of course that is true, but at the same time, mental health is definitely important. At the same time, we are human. We do still go through the challenges of life. Just because we know God and we're a Christian doesn't mean life is going to get easier. To me, I feel like life, once you accept God, it comes with a sense of a little bit of challenge, because the devil is after you to try to prove a point to God and to you that God is not real, or to prove to God that he can still entice you with different things and still draw you in. So as a Christian, that it does not eliminate any challenges or struggles or anything like that. It just gives you hope in God, in who he is and what he can and what he's done for us. So yes, I still did experience depression during that time. And even my doctor, she was wanting to put me on medication for that. And she was like, it's available if you need it. And I was just like, no, ma'am, I don't want to be on any medication for it. I started going to counseling. I started, going to Dr. Williams. I'm still actually going to Dr. Williams now to this day. I'm still, me and her still talk at least once a week. So I can still get past all the trauma. And I still have PTSD, dealing with, just everything that I dealt with during that time. But yes, I did deal with a level of depression and even suicidal thoughts. So, and that's just being transparent. As a Christian, I still dealt with depression. As a Christian, I still prayed, and I still believe God was there. But at the same time, my mind was definitely playing tricks on me.
So your mind was focused on what your reality sees right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's good that you're being transparent even in this broadcast, because so many people, as we said before, it's like, oh no, we're not supposed to be thinking that. But the reality is that we do think those things, and we do a disservice when we're not being honest, when we feel like we can't talk to our brothers and sisters in Christ. Like you had Vescola, somebody is viewing it, doesn't have anybody to say, hey, your feelings are valid. Let me walk with you through this. So
matter of fact, whoever viewing this is real Christianity at its highest point. To realize, I'm a child of God, but yet it's still, as a child of God, I can't do this by myself. I'm struggling. I believe, you know, we'll do Christianity a good service by admitting, you know, even as leaders, look, I don't know what to do, Lord. I'm just tired. I'm ready to give up. Elijah was ready to give up, and so it's okay with Lord. I'm tired. I just can't handle this. But what's amazing is that you were smart enough to say, you know what, I need some help, and that's where Vastola comes in at. And so Vaz, while she's going through this, get off, put your hands out. I love you though. But where were you now? Because I know she communicated to you. She said that she was feeling depressed. She was ready to give up. What were you feeling? Not at the time before you started going to prayer and everything. What were you feeling? How were you feeling for yourself?
So when she heard,
the initial thought.
So this came in.
Yeah, there was no before I went to prayer. And that's key as well, because I was constantly praying, just like she was constantly praying, just like I know other people were constantly praying for her. Just so there was no, okay, before you started praying, because the reality is, and just to extend the point, we are doing what Christians do. We were walking the walk, we were talking the talk, we were making the moves, and still this thing comes. But it's the impact of it. And when you say, well, I'm a Christian, I'm not supposed to be feeling these feelings. Well, if you think that, then but you're actually feeling them, then you say, okay, something's wrong. Where do I go?
Yeah.
I need to get some help, and not suppress it as if it's not happening. But we talked earlier, Christina, we say that, you know, we tell, like, all people say, well, all we can do is pray, like it's the last thing we do, and it ain't much, but it's prayer. Prayer is our most powerful resource. Yes, it is, but it is not the only resource, nor is it the only necessary resource. If she's depressed and down and thinking about taking her own life, me saying, okay, well, just pray, and leaving her there with all those thoughts is not going to help her. She needs to know that somebody is here and willing to listen. Like, I don't think that you are twisted out of your mind, so let me just pray for you. I'm saying, talk to me. Let's work some of these things out. You know, what are your thoughts? Let me help you. Allow you, one, to talk through those thoughts, and two, to say, can I share this or can I share that? Because sometimes they don't always need somebody to say something. Sometimes they just need to be able to release what it is they have, and not be judged for it.
And that's good.
But my thoughts were really another, wow, this thing is this bad. That she's not only physically sick, it is, because I know the strength that she has, and I know the faith that she has. If you don't know it, you can hear it in her voice when she sings. It's a testimony. But even with all of that, the power of that unknown, the power of that that fear was enough to make her even at least consider. But her faith was enough to make her say, let me talk to somebody, because this is not, I can't. And not only that, it's like, this is not what I want to feel. I don't want to feel this.
Right.
So let me get some help, because this is not what I want, you know. And so for the person who does not have the strongest relationship with God, to say, okay, well, this is not of God, so I got to see what's going on. That's one option. But somebody who doesn't have that relationship at least has the desire to not feel what they're feeling. And so if it's that uncomfortable for you, especially if you're thinking about taking your life, or even if you just feel so down that you don't know what thoughts to think, and you're not comfortable with the thoughts that are coming up, it's enough to say, well, I don't want to feel this, so let me get some help. Call somebody. Not everybody has somebody to call, but again, we need to offer more than just prayer. That's why we need to call and check on people. We need to call and see if they're okay. We need to call somebody who lost their job and say, can I bring you we all got something we can give somebody. I don't care if we don't have a dime in our pocket. But there are needs that people have. It's like, I don't have a job. My rent is coming. Some assistance is coming, but I don't know if I'm going to qualify or when it's going to get here.
Come on,
So
Reverend.
we can open our mouths and say, even for somebody who is so prideful, or somebody who does not know how to ask for the help, I don't have a job, so you might at least ask.
Awesome. Yes.
Yes. You know what?
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yo, no, you're good, because what I meant in the question was what your thought. You said it was like, wow, this thing is powerful, but I like what you said. You said, look, you didn't leave her out to dry, because if you'd have let her out, if you would have
Or
left
I
her,
just said, "Oh, babe, I'm praying for you."
she probably would have been like, "Are you serious right now?"
No, she probably wouldn't have even said that. She would not have even said that. She would have probably just taken it and got off the phone and went, okay, well, she gonna pray for me. I know she said she gonna pray for me. She gonna pray for me. But okay, but she's not. It's not gonna make her feel any better. It's not. It's not gonna leave her with anything. How much encouragement is that gonna leave her with? Because even when you say you gonna pray for me, I'm still left with these feelings of depression. And at some point, I know you praying, but I'm praying too. At least there's some words that I left you with. I hope that I left her with that encouraged her. No, 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 no. You mean too much to God. So you can't do that. No, that's not what the word says. No, there's nothing impossible with God. That is not. We pray for God for a transformation of her mind. We gotta go there. With it. So yeah.
Look. For those,
I'm about to get your hoop music and everything ready, girl.
For those of
But
for those of you that are viewing, y'all, this is my sister Vascola. This is I'm gonna have to adopt you now, Jaquina. So this is my adopted sister as well. So she all, like I said, we all together. Vascola, she done got happy on y'all.
I'm looking at my arm.
Don't mess with her and her God. Don't tell her what her God can do.
That's real. And so Jay, because I'm not gonna butcher your name, because I will butcher it. I know it had to be comforting to you at your lowest moments. You had somebody not just saying I'm gonna pray for you, but was truly concerned and inside your church. Because people talk a good game, like you said, Vascola, we talk a good game, but there's one thing to talk a good game, but then your action.
And some will say, "I'm praying for you," and that just flies out of people's mouths so quickly. Sometimes you can tell, somebody else say, "I'm praying for you," and then you ask them, later on you see them, they don't ask you how you doing, how was this last, whatever. There's no follow up, as Vascola indicated. And so a lot of times people are guilty of just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm praying for you," and they walk up and they don't know your name. They ain't lift nothing up, and even if they don't know your name, they still did not pray like they said that they said.
Right, but let me just add this to that for those people, and not in defense of those people, but we have to do what we have the wherewithal to do, with what we have the capacity to do, with what we know what to do, and because somebody who all they can say is, "I'm going to pray for you," that's all they know to say. I'm somebody else. God has given me some different gifts and some different insights, so I know better than to just leave her there with words that I'm going to pray. Not everybody has that, so we have to do what we have the capability to do, and then we have to ask God, what can I do for her? What can I do for? And if all I have is a word for God to please heal my sister, trust me, that is a lot.
Of course, yes.
And if that's all some people have to offer, but that's a lot. And I'm not the only person that prayed for her, I know. And I know I'm not the only person that she could call on. But there was something that said to me, I can't leave her. And you know what? Let me tell you what's interesting is when I would talk to her, she would just be so, it's like, "Oh my God, thank you for that. Thank you for that." And I'm not thinking so much that I'm having such an impact, but then I realized how much she actually needed to hear the things that I was saying to her, because she was like, "Oh, thank you." And constantly, "Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That helps me. That helps me. That helps me." So again, we have to do what we know how to do, and what we don't know how to do, we have to say, "God, how do I help this person? What can I do for this person?"
Look, Quisha made a statement. Quisha's statement, and I love it. She said, sometimes a friendly reminder of who you are and allow them to work it out works. And I think that was good on your part, Vascola, what you said. I think your conversation with her was also reminding her, because you stated, she had to be anointed, but you had to remind her, look, you know who you are, but you know whose you are as well. And, you know, it's okay to be down, but you got to get back up. Just don't be down for the count. And I think that was good, man. You got comments coming in. This thing is beautiful. Come on.
Okay, so my other thing is, you know, we got stuck on this one point. I want to ask you because we haven't really gotten to the thicket of your you know, we talked about your thoughts or whatever, but we hadn't gotten to like the extent of your actual situation. We talked about the emotional aspect, but the physical, you know, did you ever have to go to the hospital? Like what happened after they said, okay, hey, yes. What happened after you said, you know, you got the diagnosis, you knew you had the quarantine, you knew, you know, right now your job situation wasn't as favorable as you would have liked it to be. But as you're at home and as you're going through this emotionally, how was your body responding physically? Because, you know, they're all connected together. So how was your body responding physically? Did you end up having more than just the headaches and the fatigue and the not being able to eat? Did it get worse than that?
So, my doctor, every time I talk to my doctor, so me and my doctor was definitely in communication like pretty much every day. So there were definitely certain people that I was talking to pretty much every day was my doctor, my parents, also in communication with Pastor Cosby, and different things. So those were definitely the certain people, and Fascola texted me. So, you know, those were certain people that I talked to every day. But my doctor really did not want me to go to the hospital if I could help it. So as long as I was still able to maintain to a certain degree, she wanted me to stay at home because of how full the hospitals were getting and how it was also so easy to contract more or additional things while there. So, you know, I was at home. I was at home dealing with it for the entire time. And like you were saying, yes, from my first stage of my the symptoms that I have till at the end of me being sick, like I told you, it was a total of 3 months that I was out dealing with it and the side effects and just all the aspects of it. Like you were saying, yes, from the headaches to the shortness of breath, to being unable to eat, to having insomnia that was unbelievable, that I would be up for hours and hours. Like my schedule was completely shifted. Like when everybody was asleep, I was up. So I didn't go to sleep till like 7 a.m. in the morning. When the sun was rising, I was going to sleep. And then I would sleep till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, trying to get my time. And then I was up again. So I was just so backwards with a lot of different things and just not having the ability to walk. Like I didn't have strength enough. Like my legs would buckle with me trying to walk because of how the virus was attacking my body in so many different ways. So it was attacking my muscles. You know, my limbs would be swollen when I would try to get up and walk. I became vitamin D deficient because I was inside for so long. The only connection I had with the sun was sitting right here, looking out my window, sitting in front of my window, looking out my window. That was the only time that I was able to have any type of sunlight. So just dealing with the side effects of it, I believe was the most traumatic part that it had on me, was because it was so prolonged. Like if it was over in two weeks, in the 14 days that they were saying, okay, that was something that you could be able to bounce back from. But since mine was prolonged, I believe that's when, you know, it became a much needed challenge and struggle for me. Because again, I don't think that I would be where I am right now in my mindset and my relationship with God if I did not go through that. You know, and it's hard to say that because some people may think, especially, you know, we're talking about those who are not Christians, who don't know God or may not have that relationship. How can she say, you know, that it was good that she was afflicted? Right. So she can be able to understand, you know, the scripture says that, you know, and up until this point, I didn't know the depth of that scripture. You know, it was good that I was afflicted so I may understand his decree. Like what? Like why? So, but again, to go through all that, God had to remove things. He had to remove things that I was so dependent upon. He had to remove people in my life. He had to remove and show me my dysfunction during that time. So he was molding me, and he was doing a great work in me that I didn't understand, but I understand more now than anything. Why I had to go through that. It was painful. It was a challenge. Like I said, I went through depression. I went through stages of, mentally contemplating suicide. But even in that time, I was crying out in my kitchen, right where I am now. Just being here talking about that is bringing so much back. Like I was crying out to God, like in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. I would cry out to God. I would read books. I would watch sermons to try to get more of God's word in me, to battle the other feelings that I was feeling, to battle Satan and his tricks and his tactics on me. So that's why it was such a constant battle with me, because Satan knew who I was, even at times when I didn't know who I was. God knew who I was and who he had called me to be, even at times where I did not know. And I had to reflect back on, for every mountain he's brought me over. Those were the times where the themes and scriptures
Come
and the
on.
things that I knew had to keep me, the prayers, the calls, the text messages, everybody's thoughts. That is what kept me in my right mind when I thought I was losing it. When I was crying out to God, like, God, I don't want to take these pills. I had a thought that was like, you've been sick for so long. If you just take all these pills, it will relieve you of the stress. It will relieve you of all the pain that you're feeling. If you just take all these pills, the doctor said they have nothing that can cure it. So this can be your reality for so long. If you just take all of these pills, you can end it all. Your parents wouldn't have to worry. People wouldn't have to worry about you anymore. So just take this and just be released from the challenges and this burden that you have on you. And I was like, God, no, I'm not going to do that. That is not what I want to do. That is not what God would have me to do. And I just prayed, and I was just screaming and praying and crying, asking God to help me. Yes. Like, I can't handle this. I can't do this by myself. Lord, that you said that you would be my refuge in times of challenges and struggles, for me to cast it on you. That you would be there for me. And God, he was there in the midst of my struggles and in the midst of my battles when I was dealing with what I was dealing with. So just knowing that during this time, during this prolonged period, during my 3 months of pretty much having to like gain my strength, and even what the virus did to my mind and to my memory, to me, when I had to read, like the COVID-19 and what it does to the body, doctors still don't understand it. So, for those to hear and to know that just because it affects somebody one way, it's not going to affect you the same way.
So you mentioned your memory. So, and I mean, you just bring chills when you just talk about, like, I love hearing about how God has made a way for people where it seemed like it was just virtually impossible. And, even with you sharing about how your mind and how the enemy will try to say, oh, just take these pills. And immediately when you were saying that, I was just thinking about how the Lord was led into the wilderness. Oh, just jump off this roof. You'll be fine. Oh, the Lord said he'll command his angels to get, it's like the enemy, he has a way of trying to get in there so that you can do something. Because like you said before, he already knows your purpose. God knows your purpose, and the enemy knows your purpose. And so for that reason, if he can stop you, he will try that.
She said something. She said she didn't know what certain things meant until this process. That's amazing, because we don't truly know until we go through it. And then now you have a greater understanding. She sung. I know she sung a song about he's a healer. he's a deliverer. But it's a difference between singing with no experience
and having the experience
It
behind
is.
it.
But man, I bet when the doors open back up and you sing that song, it will take on a whole different meaning now, because you were singing it. I mean, because you know who God is. You know God is great. He's powerful. But your experience with him now is not only is he great and powerful, but I know because what he's done in my life. And I think that right there said it took me to another level when you was talking about it, because we always sing it. Oh, I know he's in it. You heard preachers do it, but you know a preacher who just doing it just to say it because it sounds good, but then you know the ones who's been through it when they say it, because there's some fire, there's some conviction, there's some power behind what they're saying.
So we talked about your you touched base on a lot of it, you know, as far as your view and philosophy, you know, and also about how COVID-19 has just impacted you in all areas. And so even with that in mind, at the top of the hour, we talked about, you know, different precautions that everybody may have had and that you may have had, just going in grocery stores. We talked with Vascola and she shared her thoughts as well. But now, having gone through everything that you've been through, and you mentioned that you're part of the long haul, so you may still have some residual effects as it relates to COVID-19. You mentioned your mind. And so before I ask you this question that was posted, what was it, you said memory? Did it affect your memory?
Mm-hmm. So it affected my memory. It affected my like just being able to like compose a sentence was difficult, or even writing and reading, trying to understand words, or even writing words. I was writing words backwards. I was understanding basic words. You know, it was just difficult, the effects that it also had on me mentally. And when I was reading, you know, on other people who have had it, even my age, like I'm in my 30s. So just knowing how it affects you, even in the different age range, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So I had to, and even sometimes, you know, just with my memory, getting my memory back, and even trying to, you know, read, trying to stay up on that, trying to continue to read, trying to just let my doctor know what I'm experiencing. And it just, yeah, the aspect that it does have on my mind and on your mind for those who have had it is definitely a challenge too.
Okay.
Look, we want to.
So look, if we could keep going, we would keep going, but we want to ask you all, you and Vascola, these final questions. So with respect to everything that has happened so far, and keeping you know your struggles in mind right now, things that you've experienced in the past, how has experiencing COVID-19 and still dealing with it, how has it changed your view and philosophy in regards to re-entering public places, whether it's going back to, I know we're rebuilding, we're building a new church right now, a new sanctuary. And so when that opens, how does that play a factor, or will that play a factor? What about going back to work? Or if you're doing any type of educational pursuits, I think this would be more so a question for Vascola if you ever are inclined to go in person. But how has all of this changed? Do you still visit with your friends, or that particular friend? I'm sorry.
That's not me.
Y'all so slick.
Yeah,
Y'all so
right.
slick.
You see how she on that question, no.
You gave me this.
The visitation has been cut off in more ways than one.
No, I wasn't trying to be funny. We started off, and I
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, no. So like I was saying, I still experience a lot of PTSD when it comes to being out, being around people, and even just being a survivor of COVID-19. My doctor even suggested that when I'm everywhere I go, even around people, it's good for me to have my mask on, because I am able to catch it again, and who knows how that would be for me the next time. So no, I do wear my mask. I'm still not going out and about socializing like that. I am back at work.
God, that's good.
Yes, so I am back at work. We have screenings, and it's just pretty much for city employees only. We're not open to the public. So my job right now consists of a lot of virtual learning, a lot of virtual services, and providing resources. So pretty much just providing The services that I normally do in person, I now do it virtually. So no, having it and experiencing that has definitely changed how I move about, period. And also how I talk to people and just share with them. For those who don't believe that it's real, we have our government, our head person saying that, you can beat it like it's
like it's nothing.
like it's just a common cold, right? Like we don't have over 200,000 people who have died from it. So even seeing that and hearing that, I was definitely offended, especially with one of being a survivor, knowing that the virus is so real. So just respecting your family, respecting your friends, wearing your mask consistently, even in the stores, wearing gloves, washing your hands, being respectful of other people, not just yourself. This virus is definitely real. It's definitely real. So let me be the one as a survivor to share that. What may seem tedious, what may seem the masks get hot. Yeah, those masks do get very hot and it's hard to breathe in them, but just imagine the other side of that. Just imagine if you, by not doing that, you're exposed to someone who may not have. And my thing is, even with me being exposed to it, it wasn't intentionally. That person didn't know they had it. And yes, I was, because of our relationship, I was more relaxed with having it. But just imagine you being around one of your friends or your family and they don't know, because it's not just you. You could be around a coworker, or you could be out and about and someone around you may have it because they got it from somebody that they didn't know had it. And, it's just how this virus is spread. You just never know. So it's better to be safe than sorry until we can get a control over this virus. It's just good to do everything that is necessary to do.
And Vash, you the same, because we know that you work in the polls and everything else. So how are you feeling in regards to reopening of the entry of public places and things like that?
Well, I feel pretty good because, of course, because it's Harris County, they have to take very strict precautions. So we have there's a window in front of us, and so it a barrier between us and them. They have to, it's kind of funny that they and I hope people don't go to the polls, changing their minds, but technically, because it's your right to vote, we can't force you. If you like, we can't turn you away if you come in, but we offer you a mask. And for the most part, if I've been here since the 13th, we've only had a couple of people who come without a mask, and you say, sir, can I offer you a mask? Nah, I don't want to wear one. Yeah, and that's just because of certain people, they know it's their right, and so it's like, you can't make me, so whatever. So, but that's why we have to take the extra. We wipe down those machines. After every person, you have to put they call it a finger cot. You have to put it on your finger before you sign the iPad. So we're taking precautions, and it makes you a little nervous. It makes you a little nervous when you see certain people, if they come in and then you ask them to put their mask on. But I feel confident in the steps that we are taking here. And I'm more diligent about, where I go and what I'm doing. I'm in the stores, and folks, just like those folks who came in without their mask, you can't go to the grocery store and not wear one.
Oh yeah,
there's certain other places, but you can come here and we can't force you. So that's how you behave. But we pray for them, and then we keep on going. But I'm very diligent, and I don't take anything for granted. And the people that I'm around now understand. They've also seen what this infection has done to the world. And so, and then now that you see people close up, either people you work with or people and so now most of those people, they understand the importance of wearing it. So nobody's offended if I say, well, no, and it's almost like you take your cue from me. If I put mine on, then you got to put yours on, because that's how we rolling up in here, right? So,
yeah.
but so that's that. But let me just go really quickly, if y'all don't mind, to the testimony she just gave, you know, from her heart, and from that place of gratitude. When you asked the question, Elbert, in the very beginning, Pastor, I'm sorry, you know, where we were and before COVID, and we talked about it, and your expression was, yeah, we were living our best life. Even if we thought then we were living our best life. No.
Yeah.
And then you talked about how she will sing that song now even differently. But here's the point. It just means that when she sings it now, it's a testimony on steroids, because she was able to sing it then because he had already brought her over some mountains, you know, and already taken her through some valleys, and she'd already had some hallelujahs. And so now here's another one. And so we don't get it twisted. This is not the last mountain.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? For some, there's gonna be some more. But he promised never to leave you, never to forsake you. And if he did it before, he can do it. He can do it again. Every round goes higher and higher. That's not just every trial gets harder, because they don't all. But your faith grows and it grows. And at some point, you'll be able to say, "Yeah, come on with it. What is this? Okay, I see it. God, you see it, right? Yeah, I see it. Okay, I'm with you because I know you can see it." So it's just us knowing that his promises are yea and amen. And he can do anything but fail. And if we just, you know, we found somebody we can roll with now. And Pastor Curry said, well, I heard him say in Pastor Cosby's installation, as they said, we got a product that doesn't spoil. There's no expiration date on the word of God. So it's always, he will never leave you nor forsake you. That's not going to spoil or go bad. You can always use that. You can always use nothing is impossible with God. You can always use that. When the devil attacks you and tell you ain't good enough to stay here, take your life, no. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. It'll never spoil. It's that God's word is always good, and all we got to do is know how to use that product.
That's it.
And we can use it over and over and over and over. It won't run out.
No.
It won't spoil.
No.
But it'll give you a testimony that just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Yes.
And growing.
Yeah, and it definitely, just even piggybacking off that, you know, when we tell God that we want to surrender our life to him and we want him to use us, we don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a with me contracting COVID-19, how he has used me during this time to bring more people closer to him, to have my testimony be able to help someone who could be dealing with this, or, you know, again, who could have someone in their family that's dealing with it, where they can be able to help them and see when they need help or when they need somebody to talk to, or just, you know, just like Vascola say, call them and just listen to them. Like, God definitely uses, he does not waste the opportunity for him to get the glory. And he definitely did not waste this opportunity to get the glory. So yes, when I'm ready for Wheeler to open so I can be able to sing and, you know, and be able to praise God, because when I was sick, there was a time where I couldn't even sing, you know, and that right there was so hard for me, because that's something I love to do. That is, when I sing, that is my conversation between me and God. That is my way of releasing whatever is holding me or holding me hostage, or any type of bond, you know, things that are weighing me down. That is how I release and talk to God, expressing my love or expressing, you know, whatever I'm feeling during that time. So yes, just knowing that God does not waste an opportunity. And when you say that you want to be used and you want to surrender your all, he will use you in whatever way he has to use you. And when you don't know, like Vascola said, you will get to a point where your faith is strong and you'll be like, all right, God, this is what we're doing. This is how you want to use me. I don't know. Because I definitely asked him, I'm like, okay, really, guys, for real? This is what we, okay. So hey, I just gotta roll with it. And yes, and all this is just, it'll definitely just increase your faith, build you as a stronger Christian, and just have you and make you ready for whatever mountain he's gonna set before you, because it is definitely not the end.
Look, y'all closed us out real nice.
That's right. Y'all the ones we good. We normally be the ones saying those things.
It's like
We
giving the
just sit
words.
back and
We usually give the words of encouragement, and I'm like, all we need is our French fry,
that's
but we're
how
not.
we- yeah.
But we appreciate
Both
of you, like really, 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 really do appreciate both of you. I know Vescola took out of her schedule as well. She tried to work the polls. Y'all go vote. Don't worry about what she said a couple of minutes ago about the mask. Y'all gotta go up there with a mask.
Yeah, didn't nobody say nothing about no mask. You got to wear your mask and come on up here. Didn't nobody say none of that. Look, let's edit that part.
No, we're not editing. No, everything will go. Look, but I want to say thank you guys for those who've been viewing, for everybody that we've interviewed for these last 2 months for this Curative COVID series. We've been grateful. We thank you guys for your participations, for your testimonies, your comments. This has really been a blessing for. Come on.
We are so sorry
Come
for
on,
this
it's
little
been a blessing for us, and we're grateful. And so our announcements.
No, just same old, same old. I know Vescola has to run out, but we just want to tell our viewers again, thank you for everything. Again, thank both of you all. We'll be in Bible study tomorrow, Acts chapter 22. So make sure you get your study on. You all that are watching, I do quizzes at the top of the hour, so I need y'all to be ready. Be ready. But we just want to thank each of you again for viewing with us. We love you all so much. Our King's Closet will be hopefully this Saturday again, which is our clothes drive and giveaway to the community, where we provide whatever they need. It will be at our church, 4714 FM 1960 Road West, Suite 103, Houston, Texas, 77069. So come by there if you know anybody that needs some clothing or some items. They can always stop by on Saturday from 10 to 2. And then also a reminder, our worship times have changed. We'll now be at 10 a.m. on Sundays. And so we hope you govern yourself according to those announcements. Again, we love y'all so much. Everything is still virtual. Don't come rolling over at the church on Sunday, because
you won't come in.
You won't be. Yeah.
Are y'all taking donations for clothing?
Yes. If those that want to donate, I know our sister Quisha. She came by and she helped us out last week a lot. We had a lot of people that was over there and brought clothing, and she also helped. She speaks a little bilingual Spanish, so she helped a couple of people out with the translation and stuff. But yes, it's always a phenomenal opportunity to show the love of Christ in that avenue. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure, and thank you, Shaquina, for it was a blessing. You blessed us with your testimony. So
look, I can't wait till you be singing again. I'm gonna be listening. I can't do it, but you can, because that's your gift.
Oh God. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Till then, we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Y'all hold up.
We love y'all. Hold on.